Today on CityCast Nashville, it's time for our Friday News Roundup. Joining me is our executive producer, Whitney Pasternak, and Nashville Scene columnist and CityCast Nashville contributor, Nicole Williams. We've got more questions than answers this week about the Tesla tunnel, a school board settlement that has some parents outraged, and Taylor Swift's new album announcement. It's Friday, August 15th. I'm your host, Marie Cecile Anderson, and this is what Nashville's talking about. Hey, y'all, real quick before we jump into the hot headlines of the week, it's that time of year again. Meaning it's that time for you to take our annual CityCast listener survey. I know some of y'all took it last year, but it's a new year, new survey. And let me tell you, that survey only takes 7 minutes to take. So go ahead, visit citycast.fm/survey to take that survey now. When you take the survey, you'll be eligible to win a $250 Visa gift card and CityCast Nashville swag. So go ahead, take that survey now at citycast.fm/survey. Now on to Tunnel Time, the time on Friday News Roundup where we talk about the Tesla tunnels. We still don't have theme music other than what I just did with my mouth, but Nicole, you're finally back with us, and you wrote the Good News theme song. So do you have any suggestions?
Tunnel time. What time is it? It's tunnel time.
We'll keep workshopping it.
Okay, so the big news this week is that a hole has been dug. We repeat, they have made a hole. Whitney, tell us more about the hole.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Boring Company has indeed dug a hole in the parking lot on Rosa Parks by the Capitol building. John Partapillo from the Tennessee Lookout captured shots of it via drone this week. It looks to be about a dumpster and a half square, and they've taken the dirt that was removed somewhere. We don't know where, which leads us to a great story in the Nashville Banner this week from Sarah Grace Taylor. The Banner sent a records request to the governor's office asking for any evidence of environmental studies, community impact studies, community engagement, or, quote, other vetting of the project from before the announcement was made and the lease was signed. The answer was there are none. None studies were done. What we do know, thanks to a meeting that the Boring Company had last week with the Convention Center Authority, is that the route will officially be under Rosa Parks to the Music City Center, where they're talking about putting a station, down Lafayette Street to Murfreesboro Pike, and then Donaldson Pike until it reaches the airport, allegedly popping up on the eastern side of B&A by the parking garages over there. But y'all may remember from our conversation with David Figler from CityCast Las Vegas that in Vegas, they've been told they cannot tunnel under the Vegas airport due to FAA restrictions. Why would they be able to tunnel under our airport?
Things that make you go,
It's CityCast Nashville, the musical.
Well, so
Hey, don't put it past
we've
them.
now asked that question and several others via email directly to the Boring Company because this week, Marie, make the trumpet noise again. The Boring Company launched a page on their website, boringcompany.com/music-city-loop, featuring a shiny new frequently asked questions form where they are promising transparency. The current list of questions that they're answering addresses like operations and construction and safety, but it doesn't provide a whole lot of details, much like many of the other times in which they've answered questions, right? It all sounds really great. For example, when answering a question about where the dirt, which they call muck, where does the muck go? They've simply written, TBC will manage, the Boring Company will manage muck from Music City Loop tunneling by employing industry standard practices. Excavated material will be removed from the launch site and transported to approved disposal or recycling facilities in compliance with Tennessee regulations identical to any other excavation project, e.g. a shaft for the foundation of a high-rise building. Well, so there it is, folks. It's settled.
Thanks
Okay.
for tuning in.
Yeah. Bye. First of all, why is the hole square? Why is it not circular?
Great. What else? What else you got?
Why are we doing this? Why have we done no due diligence?
These are good questions. Marie, what you got?
I mean, I find this rectangle hole very peculiar as well. And just why couldn't they have done this a couple months ago just to test the rock and then see, oh, actually, this is really not viable. So let's go on to a different city.
These are great questions, ladies. And I'm sure that folks at home have a ton more. The good news is now you can email your questions to nashville@boringcompany.com, and they will answer them in this frequently asked questions form. You could also email us at nashville@citycast.fm, and we will compile your questions and include them with ours and send them over in bulk, as I'm sure the email that I sent them yesterday is just the first of many. But I did send them a very nice email. I also invited them to come on the show. Do we think they're going to take me up on that?
Survey says no.
Here are the questions I asked in my first email was about whether they hired those 50 people that first week that they promised that they would hire. Like, is this creating local jobs? Local jobs are good. That would be fun. I also mentioned the fact, obviously, that, the governor's done no outreach or studies, but has Boring done outreach or studies? They've talked about how important, community support is to the process when it comes to choosing a city to dig in. So they're claiming that they have incredible community support here. And I just kind of want to know, who y'all been talking to? I also asked about the can you tunnel under the airport? What makes our airport different from all other airports? And I asked about where does the dirt go? Makes me think it's that Tegan and Sarah song. Where does the dirt go? Where does the dirt? Okay.
I'm surprised you didn't ask about will their drilling affect our podcast? Because that's my biggest concern from working from home. With any sort of sound or rattle, you can hear it on the podcast. So going forward, we have jobs.
This will definitely impact our ability to tape a live podcast from the Styx roundabout on the corner of Rosa Parks and 8th. But there is another concern, Marie, that came up this week.
A huge concern. So according to the Tennessean, Mill Creek, the only home of the endangered Nashville crayfish, stands in the path of the Boring Company's proposed Music City Loop route. The Nashville crayfish is one of 4 federally protected crayfish species in the entire country. The Tennessean says that the tunneling too close to the river could risk breaching the water table, filling a karst formation or underground cave, potentially triggering leaks of construction materials into the waterway. Y'all should really read this story. It's fascinating. We're going to put a link to it in our show notes.
Yeah, I'm very interested in what happens here. So U.S. Army Corps of Engineers Acting Chief of Public Affairs Lee Roberts told the Tennessean that the agency is going to meet with Boring representatives this week, but they provided no further details about that meeting. According to David Jackson from the Davie Resource Group, which I looked this up, they're like an environmental consulting group. So, if you want to dig a hole, they're the kind of people who you would call. They say if you want to tunnel beneath the habit of an endangered species like the Nashville crayfish, you have to get an aquatic resource alteration permit from the Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation. And they have to consult with the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency. So that's a lot of consulting that still needs to get done there.
Well, the crayfish have been killed by tunneling before. Back in 2000, a fiber optic cable tunnel was using a non-toxic drilling mud under high pressure to drive the drill bit. It encountered a karst formation and the mud escaped through the cracks and leaked into the stream.
We really, really love potentially toxic sludge near our waterways. Nicole, how's this making you feel? We haven't had you on since this tunnel got announced. So aside from why do we need this? What's your generalized feeling about the whole thing and how it's been rolled out?
One would hope that Nashville would have been more a part of the discussions. It feels much like many things that the state does. It feels like the state is doing this to Nashville instead of for Nashville or with Nashville. Very much along the typical lines of gearing what we do in this city to tourists. Personally, I don't go anywhere, but if I were to go somewhere, I wouldn't be flying back and going straight to the Music City Center because I don't live downtown.
And I saw in that story this week about why our Uber and Lyft, our rideshare rates are so much higher. It's because $2 off of every one of those is going to the Music City Center. it feels a little bit like maybe some of that money, as Sean Parker, Metro Council member, my council member Sean Parker said on Blue Sky this week, couldn't we just use that money to increase bus service between the airport and downtown to like every 15 minutes or less?
But the fancy tourists don't want to take the bus, Whitney. They want to take fancy Teslas in a fancy tunnel with fancy lights.
What if it was a
lights.
cool bus and we put lights
The
on
light
it?
show.
Like those LED
party bus?
light strips.
Yeah,
Party
take
buses.
the back off. Put up some Hey, I
Yes.
think we're onto something, y'all.
There's a DJ.
Yes.
There's a keg.
Have a WeGo party bus.
We go party buses every 15 minutes in a choice lane, right? That's what we're calling
Yes.
our special lanes here in Tennessee. A
That's
choice
what
lane.
we're calling them.
A direct
Mhm.
choice lane for We Go party buses back and forth from the convention center to the airport every 15 minutes using that $2 surcharge that people pay when they take an Uber to the airport.
I love it.
Bloody brilliant. Done. Solved.
Freddie,
All right.
call me.
Fixed it.
Finally, one more piece of big development news as we turn our eyes back to what used to be the big topic in town, the East Bank. What's up? Nashville's next great neighborhood. Billionaire Carl Icahn has finally sold his scrapyard, which could mean the final piece of the puzzle is now in place. A group of local investors, including the guy who developed Nashville Yards, bought the property for $245 million, making it the largest land deal the city has seen since Oracle paid $253 million for the nearby River North parcel. Nicole, how do you feel about this?
Good riddance to the scrapyard.
It's amazing it hung on as long as it did.
It really is, but he was holding out for the best possible deal. And honestly, I didn't think we were ever going to see this day. So this is monumentous occasion here in Nashville. I'm going to be really interested to see what they try to develop there because there is no telling how much environmental remediation they're going to have to do.
Is there muck?
Maybe we can enlist the boring company, just put it on their muck trucks, take it to the muck station.
That's a really good point, though. I'm sure that one or two things have leached into the ground over there over the years.
Oh, yes.
But, you know, I'll kind of miss it. I'll kind of miss like, look, beautiful urban Nashville, mind the scrapyard. Like it's just right there in the aerial shots of the football stadium.
What singer was in Nashville and like took a picture in front of the scrapyard?
Yeah, Mick Jagger.
An iconic photo. It will live on in our memories.
Carl Iconic.
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh,
You know, my
God.
favorite thing about this story in the Nashville Business Journal was that they did mention that Carl himself loaned this local investors group like $136 million to help close the deal.
God.
So now not only has he unloaded his property, but he's collecting interest for the foreseeable future on $136 million.
Oh,
That's
my
incredible. If you got it, spend it. Can't take it with you when you're gone.
Got any fun trips coming up? One thing you probably haven't put on your packing list is learning the language. But with Babbel, you can start talking in just a few weeks. I'm David Plotz, the CEO of CityCast, and I've been learning Spanish with Babbel. And I also just persuaded my friend who's going to France this fall to learn French with Babbel, but that is another story. Babbel's extremely fun and intuitive. It's like having a private tutor in your pocket. Handcrafted by over 200 language experts, Babbel's lessons are voiced by real native speakers and built with science-backed cognitive tools and interactive features to fit any learning style. I love a lot of the different Babbel features. The Babbel games for sentence building, Babbel speech recognition, which helps me get the pronunciation right. And now I'm really into Babbel's word of the day, which greets me on the homepage of the app. Every day, a new word revealed like a little surprise with a sentence to help contextualize it. It's like a daily treat for me. Studies from Yale, Michigan State, and other leading universities continue to prove that Babbel works. One study found that using Babbel for 15 hours is equivalent to a full semester at college. Look, I want you to learn another language. So I'm teaming up with Babbel to gift you 55% off subscriptions, but only for CityCast listeners at babbel.com/CityCast. Get up to 55% off at babbel.com/CityCast. spelled babbel.com/citycast. Babbel.com/citycast. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Well, let's switch gears, y'all. We're going to turn our attention now to Metro Nashville Public Schools. Metro Legal is currently defending the $6.5 million settlement the school board approved in July to former MNPS employees who claimed that their criticism of Director of Schools, Dr. Adrian Battle, cost them their jobs. Metro typically has a cap of $300,000 on their settlements. Nicole, what do we know about this massive settlement?
One thing we know is that the cap, that $300,000 cap, which is, I think it's under the Governmental Tort Liabilities Act, it doesn't apply to some of the claims that these former MNPS administrators were making. So they were going to have to deal with the fact that they couldn't just say, well, all you're going to get at trial is $300,000, even if you win. So that sort of
what were these claims?
The ante. Yeah. So you had 5 administrators who were either fired or transferred or had their jobs eliminated sort of in the early days of the COVID-19 pandemic. MNPS had some shifting explanations of why these particular individuals were let go from their positions. At one point, they were claiming that, they had to cut all of this spending because of the pandemic. They had to make $100 million worth of cuts, they said. But as time went on in the course of this lawsuit, the stories changed with some of the plaintiffs. They were like, well, actually, it was about your performance. Well, no, it was about your school's performance. But it was also actually a budgetary decision. So
I can see where the employees were confused. The former
employees were, yes. And they just so happened to have, like Marie said, criticized or complained about choices by Dr. Battle or school district policies in the months preceding their termination. So things were not adding up. Now, the school board already settled this. They already agreed to the settlement last month at their meeting. But I guess a group of constituents from Nashville, MNPS parents, organized to come speak at this week's MNPS board meeting, which was on Tuesday. And they wanted to speak out about the settlement. They were frustrated with it. They felt like that money could have gone to making improvements for their children.
So they would have preferred going to court.
Well, I think they want Dr. Battle to be fired, was the main takeaway.
In the settlement, did the school board admit any wrongdoing on Dr. Battle's part?
No, and the school board chair read a prepared statement at the beginning of Tuesday's meeting saying the board fully supports Dr. Battle. Metro Director of Law Wally Dietz showed up to the meeting, which is highly unusual, to give his own statement about the settlement. He said that Metro Legal determined that, quote, Dr. Battle did nothing wrong. Now, I don't know how you get to a $6.5 million settlement if you are convinced that there is no possibility that she did anything wrong. Because in my mind, he said this was a business decision and that juries are unpredictable, which they are. But if the case were as open and shut as Metro Legal and the board is claiming that it was, one would think that $6.5 million would not be the number that we landed on.
Yeah, I watched a lot of LA Law back in my day, and I can absolutely see your point there, Nicole. It does feel like a jury would have just heard that there was no wrongdoing and been like, cool, sorry, bye.
Yeah, and the whole stage managed performance of the board chair and Director Dietz at this meeting was very strange to me, because it's not typical that you have a little song and dance going on when the board has already settled. And you know why they did it now? Because they knew that parents were coming to express their frustration because for school board meetings, you actually have to sign up in advance to speak during the public participation period, and you have to tell them what you are going to be speaking about. So the board had advance notice that people were going to be coming and criticizing the board, criticizing Dr. Battle. And so before anyone could speak, they said, let us get our statements on the record.
Ooh.
There have been rumblings about dissatisfaction with Dr. Battle coming from inside and outside the House. One thing that the plaintiffs apparently have is a few people from inside MNPS willing to testify to a culture of retaliation.
And there were stories this week about a culture of retaliation in our DEC, the Department of Emergency Communications. We had Councilmember Tasha Ellis on the show earlier this year talking about how employees there are no longer gruntled, but quite disgruntled. And I guess a tape has now come out with Director Martini chastising an employee. So lots more shoes to drop in the culture of retaliation space.
Yeah, and I just don't understand the unwillingness to say everything is not sunshine and rainbows. If people are getting fired and filing lawsuits and having people willing to testify to say that there is a culture of retaliation, why do we have a school board that sits there and says there's literally nothing wrong? Dr. Battle is perfect and incredible.
It's the Nashville way.
It really is the Nashville way. We have to be willing to be honest with people.
Where does the
But
muck
we don't like
go?
doing that here.
Where does the muck
Where
go?
does the muck go?
Marie, there's one more
Speaking
thing.
of other
Yeah.
things, the Nashville Banner had a story this week highlighting the misogynistic dress code in Nashville high schools. Turns out MLK implemented a new dress code policy a week and a half before school started this year, after many families have already, done their school shopping for the start of the school year.
Yes, the Banner spoke to a student there who on the second day of school was grabbed by the arm, I know that grab all too well, and told to come with them. In an administrator's office, 30 other girls were gathered for dress code violations. No boys. This student explained that she was wearing sweatpants and a crop tank top. The dean of students apparently gave the young women a warning and told them that the next day they would be disciplined for their clothing choices.
What century are we in?
The century of women's bodies have to be hidden because otherwise boys can't pay attention, and we need to set boys up for success.
Exactly.
I have a difficult time being neutral on this.
3 women having this discussion. But
Right.
my favorite part of this, I had 2 favorite parts of this piece in the Banner. It's a great piece. Highly recommend it. The reporter spoke to a bunch of kids who go to MLK, and she was at a coffee shop with one of the students she's speaking to, and she says all these other students start coming up and they want to tell their stories. They're like, I got dress coded on my sweatpants and I was wearing leggings, da 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 da. My second favorite part of this piece was when they talked about how boys at MLK are now like cropping their shirts.
Yes! Rolling up their
In
jeans above my
solidarity.
kneecaps.
Yes,
I love
in
this.
solidarity. And we love an ally. We love boys standing up for girls. Incredible. Keep it up. And there's also just this broader conversation about like body positivity and what kind of clothes work on different bodies.
Right. And that was a point that was made in the story,
yeah.
that a lot of this does seem to be targeting some of the curvier girls, to
Yep.
use the euphemism used by the people who are talking. But
Yes.
it's like, who is allowed to wear their cute crop top and their short shorts? Because society has determined that many of us are not. And if
Yes.
you start that in high school, or God forbid, junior high, you really start to mess with kids' minds, boys and girls, if I'm being completely honest. Like saying to boys, no, these girls have to cover up because your minds are too impressionable, is also incredibly harmful to the young men. Like, how can we not just be people together? Well, anyway, MLK is apparently currently reworking their dress code with the student government to revise it after a town hall meeting with students last Friday. So they're hoping to have a new dress code policy by Labor Day. If you or someone you love has been impacted, email us at nashville@citycast.fm and tell us what you think about all of this.
We'll work through all of our trauma.
Yeah, I really want to hear from, I'm sorry, but these boys are just fascinating to me. This
Yes.
whole like a movement of boys being like, we got you, girls. So I want to hear from them. If y'all can get them on the podcast, I mean, I would hype that up to know
see what we can do.
Oh.
Donna, good news.
Thank you.
You guys, I've been waiting this whole time to talk about it. Taylor Swift has announced her 12th album, and she was on her boyfriend, Travis Kelce's New Heights podcast on Wednesday night. Her new album is going to be called The Life of a Showgirl, released on October 3rd. She unveiled the cover, the track list, one of the songs, the titled song, Life of a Showgirl, is going to feature Sabrina Carpenter.
That's nice. I liked the covers that she put on Instagram. I vastly preferred the sort of Kiss of the Spider-Woman look over some of the more louche Vegas Showgirl looks. I feel like the Vegas Showgirl look is played. It's been done, but we need more Kiss of the Spider-Woman in music culture. But that's just me.
Nicole, are you aware of this? Pop culture news?
No, and I'm very happy that up until this moment, I wasn't aware of it.
God damn it, Nicole.
Well, now you know. Now you know.
Not a Taylor Swift fan.
That's okay. You will be after The Life of a Showgirl, I bet.
I certainly will not. And how are we 12 albums in?
It all started here in Nashville, Tennessee.
We have to be nice because Marie's only dream, now that Taylor is doing podcasts again, her only dream is for Taylor Swift to come on this podcast.
I know. I would love to just chat with her about her early beginnings here in Nashville, you know, working with Big Machine, reclaiming her masters. So I did tune in. She did a 2-hour podcast interview, which is, I don't think she's ever done that in her history of her career.
It's very long.
It was very long.
But you said you found Easter eggs in it?
I do. I have my list downstairs,
Tell
so
some
actually
Easter
I won't go
eggs.
into
Goodness.
Well, I mean, it was, she hinted. I know. I'm sorry.
No,
Nicole.
that's news. Give us real news. You're our Taylor Swift expert. Screw the Tennessean. We have one right here in-house. What were the Easter eggs?
She just gave like lots of hints of like what the album will be sounding like. 70s pop, lots of dance, lots of sparkles, lots of galore.
So she's doing Dua Lipa? She's doing Dua Lipa. She's cosplaying as Dua Lipa is what I'm hearing.
Well, the cool thing is that the album itself is going to be about the behind the scenes of her life while she was on the Eras Tour. So it turns out, even though she was doing the Eras Tour all around the world, she was flying to Sweden to work with these producers to do this 12-track album. It's going to be amazing. Nicole, I don't know what else to tell you. But the thing I do want to say is that they did start the podcast by being like, welcome, Taylor. Jason Kelce introduced her in this grandiose way. And he was like, from Nashville, Tennessee. And she was like, what? And then they redid it saying, nope, she's from Reading, Pennsylvania. So
yeah, Christmas Tree Farm. That's where she's from.
Yeah, exactly. But throughout the years, they've said she's from Nashville. So I guess they're really doubling down on the fact that she's not from here, which we all knew she's not from
She's
here.
wanting to get as far away from Scott Borchetta as possible, I'm sure. You know who I really feel bad for in all of this, and then we'll move on? Jack Antonoff. I hope he's okay.
I hope it's okay, too. And I hope that there's no riff or anything. Lana Del Rey did post last night her track 13 that she produced with Jack Antonoff as well. So we don't know if that's like a shade or I don't know. Anyway, the Swifties are on it.
Nicole's facial expression is the most bored facial expression we've ever seen.
Okay, but wait, before we move off of this, does Daniel look like Jack Antonoff?
Oh, our producer Daniel?
No.
Yes, I think so.
No. Jack Antonoff looks more like Fred Armisen.
I thought you were going to say
Daniel
Freddie.
look like Fred Armisen? Does Daniel look like Freddie O'Connell?
Daniel looks closer to Freddie O'Connell than he does to Fred Armisen.
That's true, actually.
If we put some tortoiseshell glasses and a tie on that boy and he grew out a beard, he could be Freddie's security. Body double.
Body double, yes.
All right, moving on. Here's where I got disappointed this week, and it had nothing to do with who's producing Taylor Swift's new album. It had to do with the fact that Huntsville, Alabama is getting an IKEA, and we are not. We were told in 2017 that Nashville would be getting an IKEA, and then we didn't, and the deal fell apart, and now they're putting it in Huntsville, which granted, great, way closer than Memphis. But why can't we have an IKEA?
Oh,
I just want to
know.
eat meatballs and sit on furniture in air conditioning when I'm bored.
But we're getting a tunnel.
Shh. I don't want a tunnel instead of an IKEA.
You can only have one.
Well, dang it. But you know what is coming to Nashville?
Wawa.
Wawa.
I love Wawa.
Nicole, do you know what a Wawa is?
I've heard this term. It's similar to, I've heard the Labubu. No idea what it is. Wawa.
Let me tell you, Wawa
People
is
are
so
just
exciting.
making sounds these days.
I know. Well, it's a cheap sandwich gas
It's a convenience
place,
store.
it's a convenience
yeah.
store. Yeah. But the technology at the Wawa, I will say, when you order a sandwich, it is futuristic. You can just doop, doop, boop, 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 tap a screen, and then your sandwich comes out, and it is delicious.
Wow, robot sandwiches. I'm sure that the Pennsylvanian transplants to Nashville are very excited and that they will all be more than happy to tell us why they are excited about getting Wawa. Also, I think we should have a Wawa versus Buc-ee's Thunderdome. 2 convenience stores enter, 1 leaves.
I love
the state
it.
of Tennessee.
Well, we're getting 6 new locations expected to open by 2026.
Does Wawa have a mascot?
Yes, they do. They have Wally the goose.
Wally
His name's
Deeds.
Wally. We'd have 3 Wallies now. My dog Wally, director of law Wally, and Goose Wally. He's
Wawa
a Canada
Wally.
goose. And Wawa itself, according to Axios, Wawa itself is derived from a Native American word meaning wild geese. There's a goose right there in the logo.
Wow.
Huh. You asked, Nicole, and you know what we do here on CityCast Nashville?
Answer.
We answer questions.
You answer questions.
Just like the boring
Google things for
company.
you.
All right, what's everybody doing this weekend?
I know what you're doing.
I'm going to Open Streets. Noon to
That's
5
right.
on
Tell us about it.
Sunday, the 17th, Open Streets. They're closing the 5-mile loop around downtown Gulch adjacent areas, and you can walk and bike. I'm going to be at Critical Mass, which will start at Frankie Pierce Park at 1 p.m. So get on your bike and come on down there and join us. You can see me fall off my bike. It's happened all over town. Countless people have seen it. Come check it out.
The life of a
Well,
showgirl.
The life
life
of a showgirl who can't start riding a bike.
also this weekend kicks off the Wilson County, Tennessee State Fair.
Yay! You did such a nice job with that interview, Marie. We ran that here at CityCast on Wednesday. Y'all go check that episode
That's
out.
right. Talked to the president of the fair, Randall Clemens, who told us about all the amazing competitions this year and also, you know, the exhibit of how a bacon cheeseburger is made, which I tried to ask, is this going to be traumatic for the children? But
Sounds like not.
I know.
And then our producer, Daniel, wants us to remember that the Deep Tropics Music Festival, which he did a great interview about on Tuesday, is happening at Bicentennial Park this weekend. Gates open Friday from 2 p.m. to 11 and Saturday from noon to 11. Daniel is saying that you absolutely have to go catch Lane 8 and Alice in Wonderland. And that's Allison, like the lady's name, not the book. Anyway, I don't know anything about these bands, but that podcast episode made me kind of interested in going and having like a sound bath at sunset and drinking some kombucha and getting my health on.
yeah, and saving the
And
planet
saving
while
the
you're at
planet.
it.
Yeah, so that's fun. Nicole, what are you doing this weekend?
Let me check my calendar. Looks like nothing. It appears as though I have nothing on my calendar.
Every time.
I love it. I'm going to watch the New Heights podcast all over again because that's
Oh,
just what
wow.
I do.
All right. Well,
But-
Marie, Nicole, I look forward to not seeing you this weekend as you both stay at home. I will be
What if
out
I
in the
showed up?
streets. You should come.
What if I
Ride
showed
bikes.
up?
Come ride bikes.
Oh, no. Won't be doing that. But I might show up. Who knows?
Be safe out there. And real quick before we go, we're just sending a lot of love to Chattanooga with their awful flood that happened. So
Oh my goodness.
y'all take care.
Awful.
We'll keep looking for ways to help them out, and we'll make sure to let you know about that in the newsletter as they arise. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Happy Friday. Have a great weekend. That's all for today here on CityCast Nashville. And don't forget, you can support this show and get great perks by becoming a CityCast Nashville neighbor at membership.citycast.fm. I'm your host, Marie Cecile Anderson. Our executive producer is Whitney Pasternak. Our producer is Daniel Sumstein. And this week we had additional support from audio producer Natalie Rivera. Our Hey Nashville newsletter editor is Margaret Kingsbury, and our theme music is by Prof Jenkins with additional music from Hip Color, courtesy of epidemicsound.com. If you enjoyed the show, why not tell your friends? Rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our Hey Nashville newsletter. We'll be back Monday morning with more news from around the city. Toodles.